Okay, so I just wanted to say something quick. I'm on my way out. That's why it's an outside shirt now instead of an inside shirt. This little boy died now from this Astroworld festival thing. His name's Ezra Blount. I believe I'm saying that right. Actually, the guy from the Patriots used to say Blunt, so I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced, but I think that makes him the 10th person that died in this accident. I have a couple thoughts. The first thing on my head is I don't know who Travis Scott is really. I've heard his name here and there. I know he's somehow involved with one of the Kardashians. I don't know my Kardashians, okay? I don't really listen to new music. If it gets to me, it's by accident, like I said, in a McDonald's or a Dunkin' Donuts or somewhere like that. But we recently had the Alec Baldwin thing, and there was somebody I follow, a younger kid, whose reaction videos I watch, and he suddenly tweeted about both Alec and this guy, Travis Scott, basically attacking people for saying anything about it, and that the only reason people are going after them is because they're haters and they're celebrities, and if these people, because the people who are attacking them are haters because they're celebrities, and they just think it's all their fault because they're famous or something like that. And that's not the case. When you're in charge of something, when you're the name, when you're the big person, the way it is in life is that things are attributed to you. You have some responsibility. If you have a concert and something happens, even if it's not your fault, you feel guilty. Like when Ariana Grande had that concert in Manchester, England, and the kids got shot. You know what I mean? I'm sure the woman felt horrible. She didn't shoot anybody. You know what I mean? But that's your fans who went to your show, and had they not, they wouldn't be here. So it's just like kind of, that's not even a survivor's guilt. I don't know what to call that, but there's that sort of thing. And when you have a situation where people come to a venue to see you, or people are working on a movie set that you produced and you're the star, and it's almost like a pet project, again, that's your thing. Now, in the case I'm seeing, that this Travis Scott guy has said he's going to cover the funeral costs for everybody and help out financially where he can, which is an immediate right thing to say and do. In the case of Alec Baldwin, what we've seen, unfortunately, like I said, I've been a fan of Alec 30 years, or more than 30 years. He's not saying those kinds of things. He's explaining and trying to say, oh, well, somebody should do something about guns, on sets, and we should get cops, and he's saying all these weird things because he's not getting it somehow. And I live over here in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and I grew up liking, hair bands and stuff like that. And I don't remember how many years it was after I came home. If it was a long time after I came home, there was this big fire in Rhode Island at this station nightclub where the band Great White were performing. And I didn't particularly like Great White. But at the time, just like now, I had no money, I had no car. I could have envisioned a situation where I would have been like, oh, hey, if I had the money and a car, I'd have been like, oh, hey, let me go to this show. Because I was a big fan of going to shows. And so when this tragedy happened, and I remember waking up like early in the morning and seeing these people standing outside and they're talking about all this stuff. It was basically a nightclub. And I think it was overcrowded. And you can look it up, or I'll put a video of what happened at the time. The band Great White were performing. And they had somebody set off fireworks to be like a poor man's pyrotechnics in this club, which wasn't very fancy. And on the walls there was soundproofing, which is basically foam, right? Foam you put on the wall. And so it caught, the place went up, people stampeded each other, a lot of people died. There were lawsuits. I think maybe people went to jail, including the people who owned the club. One of the people who owned the club was a local news person from like one of the stations in Boston. It was a big nightmare mess, and nobody had any intentions of burning a building full of people. And nobody told everybody, okay, stomp all over each other because you're afraid because everything's on fire. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of things go wrong. This is what happened when Brandon Lee died. A lot of things go wrong. This is what happened when Helena Hutchins has now died. A lot of things went wrong. But that doesn't mean that the people who were organizing the event don't bear responsibility. And I'm looking at this little boy and I'm just like, geez, and I've looked at the people as they've been showing them, and there's so many things. But first of all, America, the things we hear about the United States and racists and stuff like that, every time one of these tragedies happens, a concert or something like that, or something goes on, or it's 9/11 or whatever, I've always looked at the melting pot that America is. And that's the America I've always seen. The house I live in has always been this melting pot. And if everybody enjoys the same music, if everybody's going to the same venue, if everybody's working in the same building, and we're not always stabbing each other for being different races, this projection that the media likes to put of the United States being this horribly divided country where everybody hates each other based on race, because that's what people believe. I'm rambling. I recently watched a video of a North Korean woman talking about when she came to the United States, she was expecting everybody to hate her guts. Why would she think that? Years ago, you know what I mean? She was expected to be attacked. Not like, we hate you because you're North Korean, because we know you're Korean, and, she's Asian or whatever. And now there's an Asian Muppet, which I said to Daniel Day. The only reason I know Daniel Day Kim tweeted it, it just came on the Today Show, but Daniel Day Kim tweeted that there's going to be an Asian Muppet, and he put 3 little hearts, and I was just like, I didn't even know the Muppets had races. My whole life I've just been like, they're Muppets. I didn't, when I was growing up, there were fewer characters, but I didn't know there was one of these. I thought they were like purple and blue and stuff like that. So if there's some that look like people now, I don't know, but I was like, I didn't know Muppets had races. They were just Muppet race, right? So there's so much in the news that it just says to me, everything is wrong. Everything's been wrong, And I think later on I'm going to do a thing about the 25 years that I thought might be ending this year. But we'll see. It started in 1996, the evil. Because, it goes into this. Okay, when I was in New York, and I went to shows, because I had a job and some money, I would go to a show if I felt like I had the money. But sometimes it was somebody I liked a whole lot, or sometimes it was somebody I kind of heard of. So, Buddy Guy and Johnny Lang were playing. This is one of the last shows I went to in New York. And again, it was kind of standing room place. I don't remember the venue. Now that I'm thinking about it, wait, it might have been... What is it called? Hammersmith? It was something on the west side. Anyway, it was Buddy Guy and Johnny Lang. Like I said, this was like, let's say sometime after 1996. Johnny Lang had short hair, and they were playing together. And I was there, and it was like standing room. And, I don't do well in standing room. I'm only like 5'1.5". So I don't do well on floor seats either. I learned that years ago. So I try to buy seats that there's tiers. So even, you know what I mean? Because I'm not going to do well close up. I won't see anything. Everybody's taller than me. So I was there, I had a spot. These 2 guys stood right in front of me. Right? I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not here to really look at these people. I don't care anymore. I was already caught sort of at a... What's the word when you're over it? I was kind of over things already, so I was like, whatever. Then, as the concert was going on, these 2 girls, younger girls, definitely there for Johnny Lang, right? The kind of girls who are like, they are moving up in the crowd, and they end up getting in front of these guys, and by fate, they're like an inch taller than these guys, and these guys start harassing them, right? Young girls, these guys are like in their 20s. And these young girls are like, I don't know, 17, 19, 18. I'll go with 17. And they're just saying all kinds of horrible shit to them because they stood in front of them. And it's like, why do you two guys need to see BB King and Johnny Lang that bad? You really need to look at them because they're that gorgeous and you're in love with them, whatever. These were the kind of guys who like try to look cool and have belt buckles and drink a beer just because that makes them, I don't know what the hell that makes them. But they were harassing these girls, and then I was like, hey, you know what? I said, I was here before you. You stood in front of me. I didn't say shit. What's your problem, right? I ended up leaving. I get in this whole argument with these people. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, that. I used to love crowds. I used to go to crowded things. I used to go stand in you know, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and the ball drop. And I used to stand outside of the New Year's Eve ball drop, in case you're wondering what I'm talking about. I used to stand outside of anything, like the Grammys if they were in New York, or the MTV Awards, Billboard Awards. I would stand outside Letterman if somebody I liked was on, and I used to take a lot of pictures and stuff like that. So, I used to love crowds. And as time went on, I started to hate crowds. One day it was the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Again, this is the late 90s. Not that long before I left. I left in February 99. So it could have been the year before, whatever. The Puerto Rican Day Parade. And I wasn't going to the parade. I was walking through, kind of looking over as I was walking back to my place. And then I'm walking, and I'm walking in Central Park South, right? At the corner there, and I'm seeing like all this stuff, and it looked dangerous, it looked scary, and people were just being nasty and shouting, you know. And it was like, I don't understand what has happened. To me, it was there, a dark tone came over things. And where I used to be in a million crowds, and the worst is you get some guy trying to rub on you. You know what I mean? What happened is that now it was like people couldn't stand together. People couldn't stand together without there being this animosity. And, you know, it was some darkness had fallen. But, you know, it was like concerts weren't concerts anymore. Let's all have fun and enjoy each other. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I bump into you? No, this is my space. You know what I mean? And this was after mosh pits. I'd been around mosh pits. I stood away from them. You know what I mean? People were up in the air. Their feet are going around. You just get away. There was no danger. I'm sure once in a while things happen. But for the most part, this didn't happen. So I'm seeing this concert, and I'm like, I guess he as an artist, he's told people, like, probably with an idea to not pay the ticket to jump the fence or something like that. These things leave the door open for Satan to ruin everything and kill somebody and let evil in. And that's what I think happened in the Station nightclub fire, because people were irresponsible. Satan, evil, whatever you want to call it, saw a way. Here's my path to really fuck things up. Here's my path to really fuck things up. So they say, oh, Alec Baldwin doesn't know what he's doing. He hates guns. He's not around guns. He's being irresponsible. He hired somebody because, you know, I don't know why. Somebody hired somebody who wasn't qualified because the person is connected through nepotism. And we're going to have people who just want to play cowboy even though they're making a movie. And everybody's so consumed with COVID, maybe, restrictions, that they're not even thinking about safety anymore. You have an irresponsible guy, and it just seems like, I see a path. I see a path. So we have to be responsible for each other, and we have to try to protect each other from that evil that's going to try to find a way to wreak havoc and destroy lives. And I know I just went weird, but this is what I'm saying. This is where I'm coming from now, because evil's always been there. It's always there. It's always going to be there. But I'm looking at this little boy, and I'm looking at this crowd, and this crowd is multiracial crowd, multi-age crowd, any kind of person in this crowd. And they were there to enjoy a concert. Like I said, I couldn't tell you one song from this guy. I don't know his personality. I don't know what he's like. He could be a nice man. He could be a horrible man. I have no idea. But you have a good group of people of all stripes going to enjoy themselves, and then this happens, and it's wrong and it's horrible, but we have to protect each other. And it's sad that these things happen. And I look at this, I'm like, why would this, again, I don't like the world. I don't like being alive. I don't want to be here. I would have traded. I don't like, well, take me, keep the kid down here on earth. I'll go, let him stay. And when I see stuff like that, it upsets me, because I'm like, I don't understand. There's no reason for that little boy to die. There's no cosmic reason for that to happen. There's no... If God makes a plan, it's a very stupid plan. I'm getting unfocused. I'll say that to God all the time. Your plan is stupid. You kill little kids. You hurt people for no reason. You leave people on earth who hate it here. You take the ones who have great lives and people who love them and they have bright futures. And I won't understand it. But where there's horror and stuff with, you know, some irresponsible shit led to deaths, I can see that that was actually meant to be a beautiful thing with all these different people coming together and enjoying themselves. And people need to look at things from all sides, I think, and understand that, yeah, we need to protect each other. So you have to be responsible. You don't hate people. You don't want to punish people. You don't want to bury them under the jail. You don't want to take away all their money. But other people did die, and you have to balance everything, and you have to look at the whole situation. You have to say, what's going on here? Especially where profit trumps safety. Because that is so making sure everybody's safe, which the world isn't a safe place, but doing your best to make sure everybody's safe is very, very important. And it's not about punishment, and it's not about being haters, and it's not about anything like that. We have to protect each other because the world is a slippery place. It's an unsafe place already, just inherently. So we have to do our best to help each other. I don't want to blame anybody. I don't want anybody feeling bad enough they kill themselves. Anybody involved in these situations, because they're still here. But in the hopes that these things don't happen again, you have to make people aware that, yeah, you're responsible when you throw an event. You're responsible when you produce a movie. You know, you're responsible when you do these things. But everybody else has to know you're responsible too. If you go to a concert, you know, and it's unsafe, you got to pull back and you got to say, okay, we're too squished in. Something bad could happen. Let me protect the people around me. You know what I mean? And I don't know what caused the stampede. I don't know what caused the squishing. But you don't need to see a concert that bad. Or you don't need to get close to the front that bad. Or you don't need to hold on to your spot that bad if somebody else wants that spot. You know, watch Lost Horizon. Learn about Shangri-La. Learn how to stay, you know, don't force people to ask for help. Don't, just do the right thing. Say, you know what? If you need that spot that bad, you take it. I don't need it. If your life doesn't depend on being as close to the stage as possible, you don't need to do that. Okay? If you're in a crowd of people in a building, don't set off fireworks. You don't need to do that. You know what I mean? If you're holding a venue and you have X amount of people and you're at capacity and it's a lot of money, but you want to make more money, don't do that, because there's a reason that there's a sign on the door that says capacity, or they've established how many people should be in a certain arena or a certain venue. That's so the shit don't happen. So protect each other against evil, because if not, you very easily will become an agent of evil, and people will die, little kids will die, and then you'll be sitting there either trying to defend yourself because you don't want to go to jail, or you'll be racked with the guilt of understanding that some cuts you made, some decisions you made based on money cost lives, and you already had money, and you don't want to do that. So everybody needs to just watch out for their fellow man. And if you're not going to do that, then you could very easily be an agent of evil, whether you mean to be or not.